Hello, today we're going to answer the question, is Watch Gang Platinum worth it? I got 2 years worth of Watch Gang Platinum watches I got quarterly, and I'm going to talk you through what the different watches are and how much the MSRP was on the watches versus how much I paid, and how much you could do if you bought these watches used on eBay instead, and we'll think about whether or not it's worth it. My name's Edward Davis, and I'm a paleontologist. I study ancient mammals, things like pronghorn antelope, which is why I call my YouTube channel Dr. Pronghorn's Make Along Vlog. Obviously, I'm not making anything today except some of the watch bands I've got on these watches I made myself. And a couple of watches I snuck in here because I have 10 spots and only 8 Watch Gang watches, or watches I made myself, and I've got videos for them. So if you're curious about that kind of stuff, I'll put links in the description and at the end of the video. So what have I got here? I've got 8 watches, plus, like I said, 2 I made myself. You can ignore those for now, that I got from Watch Gang. For the last 2 years, I've subscribed quarterly to the Platinum tier. So if you're not familiar with Watch Gang, it's a box subscription service, kind of like the Karen box or any number of other things. And you subscribe for a fee, and then either monthly or quarterly, they send you a watch. And they randomly pick the watches, and you just got to take whatever they send you. But if you subscribe to the Platinum tier, then you're paying $300 a watch. So I paid $300 plus like $10 shipping for 8 of these watches. And you are guaranteed to get an automatic watch, although that didn't turn out to be true in one really interesting case that I'll talk about as I get to it. So one of these watches I got from Watch Gang is not an automatic watch. But the deal is, with Watch Gang, you can buy into their original tier or their black tier. Both of those include mostly quartz watches, which they can still be really cool, and they keep better time than automatic watches, but not what I wanted. And the black tier, which is their higher level quartz tier, is $100 a month. If I do quarterly at the Platinum tier, then I'm paying the same as $100 a month. That's $300 every 3 months. And then I have fewer watches, but they are, I think, better watches. And so that's what I've been doing. And so what I'll do is I'll go through and talk about each of the watches, and then tell you the prices that the manufacturers require you to pay to buy them new from the factory, and compare that to the $300. But also, I went on eBay a couple of days ago and just looked to see whether I could find any of these watches or very similar ones, and what prices they were going on eBay. So the question is, would it be better to just buy them lightly used on eBay, or even some of these new, rather than paying the Watch Gang subscription? And it's a surprising result. Maybe not that surprising if you understand how markets work. Okay, so what are the watches? The first watch I got was this Duxo Triunfo. I got this one back in July of 2020. I'll put a card for the video up. And this is a Marina Blue. It originally came on a bracelet, but it came with this rubber strap. It's branded. And I actually like the rubber strap better. This is a beast of a watch. It's really big. I don't have any calipers here, but I have a ruler, so you can see how big it is. All right, I'll let the people who do metric figure out how big that is in millimeters. But anyway, it also has a helium escape valve. So you can theoretically go extremely deep ocean diving with this watch, and when you decompress, the helium coming out won't blow the crystal off. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to dive. See, it's got a depth rating of 500 meters, 1,680 feet. I'm not going to dive. I'm not a diver. That's okay. It's still a cool watch. I really like it because it's so big and chunky. It just makes a statement. It doesn't look like a clone of any other watch that I've seen anyway. So it's really nice and original, and I like this blue color, and it keeps really good time. And it's actually really tough too. I mean, it'd have to be to get that depth rating. They sell it from the factory for $950. And currently it's sold out. You can't buy new ones from Duxo online. I couldn't find any eBay listings that had sold recently. All the ones that were up for sale were in the $400 to $1,000 range. So The savings then over the manufacturer price is $650. And the savings over eBay might be as little as $100 if I could buy a $400 one. So this one was a good deal, whichever way you put it. And I think it's a really cool watch. I'm not going to sell this one. I'm going to keep it. And in fact, it got me excited because this brand, Duxo, is a historic brand. And there's a ton of vintage watches with this brand available on eBay. I bought a few to restore as part of my ongoing project to learn how to restore watches. So look for that in the future. Anyway, I think that's a winner. Okay, the second watch I got may be my favorite. This one is the Spinnaker Haas in mustard yellow. I got this one in October of 2020. Oh yeah, the movement in the Duxo is an unspecified Japanese automatic. So we don't know exactly what movement is in here. I couldn't find anywhere online that tells, and I haven't bothered to crack open the back and try to identify it. I might do that in a separate video. If enough people comment on this one and want to know, we can try to suss out what movement's in here, but nowhere online does it say what it is. This one though is an NH35 Seiko movement, which is a nice workhorse movement. That's the movement I actually used to make my orange watch here. I really like it. It keeps great time, and I love the color and the texture of the dial. I love the color and the texture of the bezel. I like that it has minute markings for every minute around the hour. So it's much better for timekeeping if I'm trying to track things. And I love the fact that it's got this red minute hand. Just that and a little bit of the text on it are red. Why is it red? I don't know. I made this band myself, and I used the buckle that came with its NATO band on it. So it's got a Spinnaker branded buckle on a custom yellow leather band I made myself. And then I used red and black thread to complement the red and black of the dial and the hands. So that one came out pretty nice. And I like I said, it might be my favorite one. There's no way I'm going to sell this watch. Its MSRP is $600. So the savings right there is $300 on the face. This one's sold out. There are no more available on the website. And it is actually a limited production. So it's number 407 out of 500, if I can get it to show. Yeah, so this is number 407 of 500. There are only 500 of these made in this color combination. So that's something going for it too. Now, I did find one on offer for $200 on eBay, and I found another one that had sold recently for only $116, if you can believe it. So in the end, there's a $300 savings over the MSRP for the brand new watch, but it looks like about a loss of $100 if I bought one on eBay. I don't know. I would never have necessarily bought this watch to start with, but I love it now. And that's kind of what I'm looking for with Watch Gang. Okay, so that one was maybe a loss over eBay, but still a $300 benefit over the brand new price. The next watch is this Archon Offshore Pro. I got this one in January of 2021. I love this blue color. I love the chrome, the way that it reflects the light. It just feels like money to me. I don't know why. I mean, there's no gems. There's no precious metals. It's all stainless steel, but it feels like money. This one doesn't have a date, but it does have the power reserve indicator, which is a pretty cool feature on its own. And honestly, not having the date makes it easier to set because you don't have to try to go AM, PM on it. This one is a $999 watch from the factory MSRP. And it's still available. You can buy a new watch of this exact make and model right now if you want to spend $999. It has a Seiko NE57 movement, which is a slightly higher end than the NH35, so it keeps slightly better time, higher precision in the works, but also it's got the power reserve meter. And I found an identical one sold on eBay recently for $290. And current listings have a similar watches from $160 to $600. So that means that, you know, it could be, what's a $699 savings over the MSRP for new, but the eBay listings mean you could have one for $50 less than the Watch Gang price if you wanted to have this watch right now. So that one is a loss over eBay, but still, like I said, a big benefit over the new price. And there's not that many of them in the marketplace as far as I can tell. Okay, and then in April 2021, I got my first disappointment from Watch Gang, the Soviet Global Explorer, but I turned the lemons into lemonade with this one. So if you go back and watch that video, you'll see I'm kind of meh about it at the time. And part of the reason why was that it had no calendar markings for the minutes around the dial. So I got crazy and I bought a replacement dial, and I replaced the dial on it myself, which I could do because this is also a Seiko NH35 movement. So this watch is basically a kit watch. Very similar to a lot of watches you can buy as kits to put together yourself. And in fact, the first dial I bought for it didn't fit, and I had to make this whole watch as a consequence. So you can watch the videos to see my progress there. But the Soviet Global Explorer against NH35 movement, and the MSRP is $475. So that's only a $175 savings from Watch Gang. And then I found ones online. That were listing from between $200 to $400. Oh yeah, you can't buy this color combination, or the original color combination, before I redialed it. You can't buy that anymore from their website. I guess it's discontinued. But anyway, so yeah, $200 possibly to buy a replacement on eBay. So that would be a loss of $100 compared to the Watch Gang price, or a gain of $175 compared to the MSRP. Now I end up having a lot of fun, and I'm not going to ever sell this one because I tinkered with it. It's a hot rod watch now, and I actually do really like the bezel. I'm not a fan of the fact that it doesn't have calendar markings on the bezel too for the minutes, but I really like this coin edge. It has a great feel to it. I'm not a big fan of this mushroom-shaped crown either. I might someday replace that with a different crown, but for now, I'm happy to leave it. And I've decided I'm not a fan of metal bracelets, so I'll probably eventually make a leather bracelet for that one. So that's the Soviet Global Explorer, making lemonade out of lemons. Now, the next one was also a disappointment, and I have to be honest, I almost canceled my subscription after getting the Soviet and then the AV8, one after the other, but I was a true believer. This AV8 is a kind of a cool-looking watch at first, but it has no rotating bezel. This bezel is fixed, and that's a real, that's a hard pass for me usually. I'm a big fan of rotating bezels. And overall, the watch is, I don't know, it's exciting for a minute because it has this look of a airplane gauge, but in the end, it's kind of chunky, and I don't know, overall not a big fan. I haven't sold it yet, in part because I was wearing it when I had a big health emergency last year. So in the end, it became kind of a talisman because I survived my my health scare, but I think I am going to probably part with it after this video goes live, just because, well, I'll tell you why. So the MSRP on the AV8 is $425. This particular one, the Jubilee Mustang, is sold out. You cannot buy this one new anymore, but the online listings for eBay show it selling for around $200, and I actually saw several identical ones to this selling for $200 on eBay. So if you wanted to buy one right now, you could get it for $200, and that's a loss of $100 compared to the Watch Gang price. And it looks like a lot of the AV8s end up selling for less on eBay. I think that they direct sell them to a lot of eBay vendors who then can sell them for much lower than the MSRP. So in the end, I think the AV8 was kind of probably cost-saving one for Watch Gang. They're trying to make up for some of the other ones by sending me that one, maybe. Anyway, not my favorite. But because I held on, I got this guy. And this one I really love. This is my out-of-order Automatico, damaged in Italy. It's the first one that has a non-Seiko movement. That's right, this guy also has a Seiko NH35. So of the first 5 watches I got, 1, 2, 3 of them have Seiko NH35s. One has a Seiko NH57, and then one has a mystery movement, which I'm going to guess is probably an NH35 also. This guy doesn't. This has a Miyota 8215, which means it's non-hacking, which is why it's secondhand, it's not lined up with the other guys. But it keeps really good time. Has that Cyclops on the crystal and the damaged look. It's got a damaged case on purpose with the patina. They've sanded the bezel to give it that long-term wear that I really like. And then I put the out of order leather band on it. You'll notice it's very similar to the bands that I've been making too, which I love that look. So in the end, I'm really delighted with this watch. The color combination is great. And as far as finances go, yeah, it's a $660 watch new, so that's a savings of $360 over the new price. You can find ones like this on eBay for about $420. An identical one to this just sold on eBay for $485. So in the end, it's the $300 Watch King price is a big savings over the eBay price for these, even for new ones. So I think that's a pretty good deal. And Out of Order is a brand that's recognized outside of the sort of Watch Gang realm. Some of these other ones, I guess Aviate has a big presence online that I've seen. I haven't seen Soviet anywhere besides Watch Gang. Archon, I haven't seen a lot of places either. Duxo, I mean, it's an old brand name, but I haven't seen it a lot of places. And Spinnaker, I see a lot, but mostly because I've been searching them. So I think the ads come up on my stuff. Pretty sure Duxo, Spinnaker, Archon, and Aviate at least are all made by the same parent company too. So they're micro brands in name only. Now, Out of Order really is damaged in Italy, and I'm going to Italy this summer. So I'll be doing some travel blogging, see some YouTube videos as I go around and do thrifting and stuff in Italy. And I'm going to try to go to the Out of Order factory and see if I can see them damaging the watches. And if I can, I'll post video here for you guys. I'm going to bring this guy with me and see if I can take it home. And yeah, I can see where it was originally damaged. Anyway, I love the Out of Order watches aesthetic, and I'm almost tempted to buy another one at the full price. Although I could try to get one on the Wheel of Watches using the strategy I've worked out for happiness on the Wheel of Watches. So if enough people ask for it in my comments, I'll eventually do a strategy video. Anyway, Out of Order, net gain. And then because I stayed true, I got this one, which also just makes my heart happy. This is the Wolbrook X15. This is the special edition 1969 one that is made to look, all of their Wolbrook skin divers are made to look like the backup watch that Neil Armstrong had. So not his actual moon watch, but his personal watch. And the deal is it's got time zones marked on the bezel so that you can move the bezel. I'm in the LA time zone, so I can move the bezel so that the LA time zone points at the minute of the hour hand, and then it tells me what time it is anywhere else on the world. I don't have to do the math. That's a pretty cool feature, especially if you're doing a lot of traveling. It also has the 24-hour markings on the dial, so you don't have to remember what the military times are. It's not hard to learn to do that, but this is a nice aid if you're not used to it. Anyway, I just love the look of this watch. It's got a band on it. This is actually the first band I ever made. I made it for a different project, but it fit this one, and I really like the way it looked. So there it is. Like I said, this guy is an extra special one. So you can get the Wolbrook Skin Diver in an automatic configuration that has a Miyota 9015 movement, I believe. But this one is a special limited edition number 1925 of 1969. That's right, they made 1969 of them because that's the moon year. Anyway, and what they did was they actually removed the rotor. So this watch is not an automatic. And Watch Gang says that if you buy the platinum tier, you'll always get automatic watches. Well, this one is a mechanical watch. It has a Miyota 8215, the same as this Out of Order, but they removed the rotor, so you have to hand wind it every day or it runs out. And I didn't understand that at first, so when it ran out halfway through the first day, I was confused, and I started, wound it back up again, hand wound it, and I was shaking it and I couldn't feel the rotor. So I actually cracked open the back and saw that there wasn't a rotor. I was super confused because I hadn't read the fine print in the box that came with it. And I went back and forth with Watch Gang help for about a week them trying to figure out what was going on, and me being like, how did they misassemble this at the factory? Why would they take the rotor off? I'll put a picture up here so you can see the back open and no rotor. Anyway, I finally figured it out with the help of Watch Gang help, and yeah, they did it on purpose. They must have a pile at their factory in France of rotors that are just cast off from these guys, so you have to hand wind it in order to have the experience of being an astronaut in 1969, remembering to hand wind your watch. Now, because it's not actually a hand winding movement natively, there's no stop. It still has the automatic spring in it. So you just wind and wind. You can wind it forever. You can just keep winding forever and forever and forever, and it'll never stop. So you have to just understand that probably about 90 times is more than enough to make sure it runs for a couple of days. Okay, so anyway, I really like this watch. I'm glad I stuck with it. And is it a savings? That's the question. So the MSRP on the Wolbrook X15 1969 Special Edition Manual Wind Skin Diver is only $460, but you cannot buy them anymore. They have sold out of their 1,969 that they made. And as a consequence, you'd have to buy it used on eBay. Fortunately for you, if you want to, there's several of them for sale, or at least there were when I made this video. One identical one, manual wind, sold for $240 recently, and another sold for $300, and another for $220. So that means that the savings over the MSRP is about $160, but it's a loss of about $50 compared to eBay prices. So yeah, if you want one of these guys, go ahead and buy it on eBay. You'll get it for cheaper than I paid for it. But I got it from when it was new, and I just love it. I love this watch. I love the red seconds hand. I love the red dates. It's just groovy. Okay. Here's the last one I got. This is the end of my 2 years so far, Watch Gang Platinum. This is the Orvin Field Diver in black and green. It has a Miyota 9015 movement, which is hacking. So it's like an upgrade from the movement that's in the Automatico. And as you can see, extremely high beat rate. So very smooth second hand. And this is a really nice kind of, you know, it's supposed to look like those skin dive watches from the 60s. They were all inspired by that kind of look of the old Submariner, right? So that's what it looks like, and it's nice. It's got calendar markings for each minute. It's got subdivisions of the minutes, if you can believe that. There's a calendar marking for each minute on the rotating bezel, but it's just kind of blah. It's even got a signed crown, but it's not exciting to me. I don't know why, but this one is just not exciting. So I think I'm going to end up selling it. I think I'm going to sell this one and the Aviate to help pay for Jeep parts. But you know, it's still a nice watch. And the MSRP on this guy is $525. So that's a $225 savings by using Watch Gang. I found a recent sale for one for about $315, and there are listings of these from $350 to $400. So these are probably a $50 savings of the Watch Gang price from buying them on eBay. So that one's a benefit. And when I do the math for all 8 of these watches, I saved $2,694 over the MSRP. So if I bought each one of these new from the factory and paid the full price, I would have paid $2,694 more than the $300 per watch, which is $2,400, right? So like I in the end saved 50%, more than 50% off the MSRP. But when you compare to buying them on eBay, I lost $65. So that's about a wash. I'm going to say it's about as wash. And that's not surprising, really. When you think about the marketplace for these things, if Watch Gang is putting these watches out into the marketplace at $300, then there's a certain number of people who buy them at $300 and want to sell them for around that amount to get their money back, or just to move the watch out of their watch box, and they're willing to take a small loss, so sell it for $200 or $250. So in the end, having Watch Gang putting these watches out at $300 moves their price point in the used marketplace down into that territory. So in the end, right, if you want to have sort of the Watch Gang experience, what you could do is follow the Watch Gang website, and every month after the watches come out, go on eBay with searches for that month's platinum tier watches and buy up the ones that people are selling off because they didn't want it. And you'll probably get it for around that Watch Gang price if you're patient. But you won't get to have the surprise, and you won't get to have it new necessarily. Although some of these, like the Out of Order and the Aviate, there's a lot of brand new listings. And for me, part of the fun is like not knowing what I'm going to get. And the reason why I'm disappointed in the Orvin is because it's not funky. Like the watches I love the most, like the Spinnaker, this Fat Duxo, the Out of Order and its craziness, this Wolbrook and all the crunchiness of its bezel. The reason why I love those watches is because they're so wild, and the Orvin is just too tame for me. And then the Aviate, I don't know, it's kind of wild, but at the same time, it just doesn't. It's like, doesn't get me excited. Maybe it gets you excited. Maybe look for it when I put it up on eBay to sell it. But you know, everybody's got their own things they like. Okay, so this is the first watch I made. I put it together from pieces I bought on the eBay. Some people tell me that that does not make me a watchmaker, but as far as I can tell, I made it. It was pieces before. I picked them out individually and put them together, and now it runs and keeps time. And it is a functioning chronograph, excuse me. I call it my coronograph because I made it during the first year of the coronavirus pandemic. So anyway, I think that makes me a watchmaker. What do you think? So I made that myself. I'll put a link to the video if I'm making the band for it too. Then I made this guy. Like I said, I bought this dial originally to replace the one in the Soviet, but it turned out to be the wrong size, so I had to buy an entire new movement and hands and a watch body. And then I ended up replacing the crystal too, because the crystal that came with it had a reflective coating I didn't like. So I have a video for that in the process of making the band too, which shows the process I use for making all of these kind of bands. I made this band, I made this band, I made this band, and I made this band. This one came from Out of Order, didn't make it. That one is the Aviate one. This Spinnaker is one that Spinnaker made. I didn't make that. But I did make this one from scratch, for as much scratch as you can from pieces that I bought on eBay. And that was a lot of fun. So, in the end, let me know what you think. Wow, I went 30 minutes. Let me know what you think about these watches, which ones you would keep and which ones you would sell off. Let me know whether you think it was worth it, whether it continues to be worth it to do the Watch Gang thing, $300 a pop. And let me know if there's any watch projects you're working on or cool watches that you think I should be looking for, since you know that I like things that are outre, that have bright colors, or crunchy dials with lots of writing. That's what I like. So let me know what you're doing, what you think. Be safe. It's still a dangerous world out there. Look for Jeep content, look for watch content, look for shoe content. I do have some more shoes I'm going to fix. Take it easy, be safe.